What's up, y'all? Welcome back here. We've got the Bluegrass Stakes coming up here on Super Saturday. Three biggest prep races for the Kentucky Derby. I think the competition gets better the more I look at it. This year, last year I thought the horses were a little bit slower. This year they're a little bit faster and very evenly matched. And there's a lot of horses that are resilient, that close really well. And they're all starting to come together now. Bluegrass Stakes, when you're looking at the history of this race, last Kentucky Derby winner produced 91, strike the goal, long time ago. Recently, though, we have had some decent horses out of here. Last year, Sierra Leone, 3-year-old of the year, won this race. A couple years back, 2021, Central Quality was a winner here. And then we've got some historic winners from this race. We had Alidar, 78. Northern Dancer, won it in 64. Spectacular Bid here, 79. Spectacular Bid. I think he still holds the record for a mile and a quarter. The world record, I think it was like 157 and something. So some great horses have come from here traditionally. If you want to ask me, I just think that the way breeding is kind of taken over, things are just different. They make their money in Keeneland off of breeding. Anyway, 5:52 Eastern Daylight Time for this one. We are looking at the number one, River Thames, out of Mohan's Music, Horses of Distorted Humor, grandchild. 5-2 in the morning odds. Irad Ortiz Jr. is riding this one. He's never won a Breeders' Cup, Bluegrass Stakes in his career, so he's looking to add that certainly to his resume. Todd Pletcher, the trainer here. Todd Pletcher, no stranger to the winner's circle here. He actually is the record holder with only 4 wins. I say only 4 because we know Pletcher's got lots of wins in other stakes races. So 4 here, looking to make it 5. 05, Bandini, 08, Mambo, 2015, Carpe Diem, and 2023, Tapit Trice were Pletcher's winners here. Last out for this horse, second in the Fountain of Youth. Now, he was beaten by Sovereignty. Sovereignty was a really good-looking horse. Barely beat him by a neck. Before that, this horse won Gulfstream, 6-length win at a mile, 136. That's nice. That's what you want to see. Before that was another win at Gulfstream, so not very heavily raced, but he does show up all the time. 3 races, 2 first, 1 second place by a neck. So he's almost undefeated. And almost, they say it only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. It also counts in handicapping. When you're handicapping, if a horse loses by a neck, a nose, or something like that, don't handicap him as having lost that race. For handicapping purposes, he may as well have won the race. That is too small of a variance to split hairs on when you're handicapping, because there's many other things that are going to make a much larger difference, certainly than a neck or a nose or something like that. So this horse is pretty much undefeated for handicapping purposes. Stepping up here in the right competition you kind of want to see for this horse. They're probably going to have him as a favorite. Might not be the favorite, though. It's going to be a lot of money in this one. And I said it's a competitive race. So keep your eye on him, of course. River Thames, number 2, Render Judgment. A much more interesting horse, in my opinion. Horse is sired by Blame. Blame's claim to fame was defeating Zenyatta in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Zenyatta, heavy favorite, storybook ending. That's why I don't like storybook endings, because they don't really happen in horse racing. There's storybook heartbreaks in horse racing, more often than not. 20-1 on this horse. Now, here's the interesting angle on this one. The reason he's 20-1, the jockey's Sheldon Russell. Sheldon Russell, I like Sheldon Russell. I think he's a fundamentally good jockey. I think he has decent timing. I think he is aggressive when he needs to be. Now, I've seen this repeatedly from him. However, he doesn't repeatedly get the good horses, and he rides in the Virginia, Maryland. What do they call that there? You people from there know it. The DMV. He rides in that area. So he's not facing the fastest horses a lot. Or not riding the fastest horses a lot. I've always thought that if Sheldon Russell gets the right horse, he can really pop onto the scene. I mean, we've seen that happen with lots of guys that are not as good, in my opinion, as Sheldon Russell. So, is this his horse? I don't really know. Here's what I like about the horse. Let's just get into that. Broken Maiden, Churchill Downs, mile 1/16, 144. All right, that's a good start, right, for breaking a maiden. Going into the Gun Runner. Next, third place, 9 lengths off. That was a 143. Didn't seem that interested. Next out, Risen Star, 19 lengths off. That was a 148. A good time for the Risen Star. Disinterested horse. Jockeys, Brian Hernandez. Now, I know a lot of people like Brian Hernandez. When you're a fresh Derby winner, which, everybody knows, to win the Kentucky Derby, you don't just need skill, talent, good. You need some luck, all right? So I think Hernandez is a bit, I think maybe he is a bit overrated. He's all right, but he's off this horse. Sheldon Russell's on the horse for the Virginia Derby. Now, the horse American Promise, the American Pharaoh horse, came out and ran this race, a 146-2, Now, when I saw that time, in my mind, I'm thinking 146-2, Virginia Derby. Yeah, that's mile and 1/16. And then I ended up hearing, seeing another replay of it. I was like, yeah, American Promise set the track record. I'm like, whoa. Track record? I mean, I know they're slow at Colonial Downs and everything, but did he really set the mile and 16th track record at 142, 46-2? Like, that can't be. So I looked it back up, and yes, the race is a mile and an eighth. And so, yes, that is a legitimate track record. That's a legitimate time in any track, a mile and an eighth and 146-2. So, is that what Render Judgment did? No. He was second behind that, 7 lengths off of it. Does that mean he can do that? No, that doesn't mean that. Here's what that means. That means that this horse, who's been disinterested in running, got caught up in this fast-paced Virginia Derby. I had to go back and rewatch it now. They did the opening half in 45 seconds. Now, that is a race, all right, especially when you're going over a mile. So what you see when you have this happen, you see horses that didn't know that they could run a mile in 133 or 134 because the race setup they've been in before, that's not really what it called for. However, they're set up in a race that just ends up going a mile and an eighth, and it's too fast of a pace, and this horse ends up overachieving. I've seen it a lot of times. These horses overachieve in an overpaced race, and the horse doesn't do so bad. They don't win, but the trainers and the jockey are looking at it like, whoa, this horse can handle a lot more early speed than I thought. And it can change their running style. So, after re-handicapping that race a little bit, now granted, the third place horse, Omaha, I did the same thing with him. He might be a little bit better, but I think he's going to be still outmatched, though, in the wood. But anyway, back to the Bluegrass. The This render judgment with a second place with that kind of time and a jockey like Sheldon Russell, that shows me Sheldon Russell's like, hey, this horse can run. He's going to give it a go. He wants to win the Kentucky Derby. Everybody wants to win the Kentucky Derby, all right? He sees this as his shot to get there. And he's an aggressive rider. I don't know, for those of you that haven't seen him, if you like Irad Ortiz Jr., he's cut from the same cloth. I've seen him be a bit more aggressive, I could say, from sometimes to his detriment. But he does know how to get into the horse and get going. He tries to win every race. I don't ever see Sheldon Russell not giving it a shot. So 20-1, maybe more. I think you could make a play and a long shot on this one. And, betting strategies, I don't like to get into that because betting strategy and handicapping, two different things. But if you're looking to play long shots, you might want to find a spot for render judgment. All these off races and then a second place, 7 lengths off. A lot of reason for people to not like him. But time-wise, I think he might have something in him. And if the price permits, it's worth the risk. I mean, it's all about risk management. On to the 3, Burnham Square. This horse is out of Liam's Map, who's a Unbridled Song horse. Oh, one more thing I got to get into with render judgment here. I missed this. Trainer Kenny McPeak has 2 wins in this race. 02, Harlan's Holiday, way back. And 2013, Java's War. So something else. The trainer, McPeak isn't, he's no Pletcher, he's no Baffert, but, he's got some experience in the area and got a couple wins here, too. Something else to consider if you're thinking about going with render judgment. But let me get back to Burnham Square, the 3, 4-1 in the morning odds. That jockey I was talking about, Brian Hernandez, is on this one. Now, he's never ridden him before. I just think that's weird. Edgar Zayas, Gulfstream jockey, not going to make the trip up here to ride Burnham Square, so I guess they're not too confident in that. Sticking Brian Hernandez on him, he got a win in this race in 2020 on Art Collector. Now, I got to say, Art Collector is my horse. I don't really pick Brian Hernandez a lot. I picked him because I liked Art Collector. I like Art Collector's breeding, and I liked his performance. He ended up coming through with a win. Didn't win in the Kentucky Derby, even though I liked him there, but he did come back with some redemption later on in the Pegasus. Art Collector turned out to be a good horse, and I argue that was the win that catapulted Brian Hernandez to his current position. Because before he won the Kentucky Derby, he did get that win in the Bluegrass Stakes. Horse is trained by Ian Wilkes, 4th in the Fountain of Youth last out. Now, that was a bit of a disappointment because he won the Holy Bull. The win in the Holy Bull was a bit of a shock because he broke the maiden race before that at Gulfstream. Mile and 1/16 and 144, so we knew he liked the distance, and he ran that up front. Now, in the Holy Bull, Burnham Square didn't take a lead in that one. Sat off the pace, and he was able to track, with the Flavien Prat horse there. Tracked Flavien Prat, good stalking position, took him off to the win in the Holy Bull. Then the next race out was the Fountain of Youth. I don't know, horse just didn't seem as interested, I guess you would say. Didn't take the lead in that one. It ended up with Stronghold, got the win there. Juan Hernandez ride him. River Thames lost by a neck, the one horse in this one here. So Edgar Zayas not bringing him back. They got Brian Hernandez on him again. And so, yeah, he won the Kentucky Derby with Mystic Dan. But I'm not looking for too much from Burnham Square at this one in Brian Hernandez. I think that 4-1 is a bit generous. Probably going to be near the front. Probably going to be stalking the pace, I think. I don't know if he's really going to be a factor, though. The one that I do think could be a serious factor is the 4, Owen Almighty. Horse out of Spadestown. That is a Bayern horse. Bayern won the, or Spacebound, not the Bayern's horse. The Damsires of Bayern, who was a Breeders' Cup Classic winner. So got some distance you like to see here. Horse likes to ride near the pace, but also closes well. Jose Ortiz riding him. Jose Ortiz got a win in this race in 2018 aboard Good Magic. A lot of people think that should be the de facto Kentucky Derby winner due to the controversies with Justify. But Good Magic and Jose Ortiz did get a win here. He did ride this horse Owen Almighty, initially broke the maiden, got off the horse. His brother hopped on him, though. They do that a lot. I Ride Ortiz rode the horse second in the Iroquois. Horse got a win in the Pasco. Was disqualified, though. Placed fifth place, I think it was. Came back second place in the in the Sam F. Davis behind John Hancock, half a length off in that one. And came back with a win in the Tampa Bay Derby with I Ride Ortiz Jr. riding him again, that mile and 1/16 and 142. So looking to follow that up with another good win. Some good workouts from this one. 1 minute breathing last out. A 49-second, 4 furlongs between that, and another 1 minute breathing before that one. So there's a lot to like here, except for maybe the positioning. I'm not sure if being forwardly placed is going to work to this horse's advantage. If Jose Ortiz can rate him properly, though, I think he can point him for the win. Good horse here, Owen Almighty. Number 5, another horse that there was a lot to like early on, East Avenue. Horse is bred out of Medalla d'Oro. That's an El Prado horse. His mother's father's Ghost Sapper. So, excellent breeding here. Horse had a win in his maiden special weight. Juan Machado was riding him. His jockey who's back on him now. They switched up the jockeys. Tyler Gaffleone was on him. Got a win at the Breeders' Cup Futurity, which was also run at Keeneland. 9th in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, though, however. Wasn't able to put it together there. 13 lengths off. Ran in the Risen Star. Gaffleone was on him again after a bit of a layoff. 10th there, 22 lengths off. Not interested once again behind Magnitude, who really kind of dominated that race. Gaffleone's injured now, so they went back, got Luan Mercado again, looking to put it back together. Got a jockey that's one on him, putting the blinkers on, hopefully going to switch it up, get things together. Got some good workouts, a 47-second 4, a 59, a 1 minute, and another 59, 5 furlongs. So you're looking at some good workouts here for East Avenue, looking to capture some of that old magic with Machado. I do like to see that when your horse has been off, you want to get it back together. Yeah, switch it up, bring back another jockey that he liked. 3-1, I think, is way too generous, though. You're looking at a horse that hasn't been interested in winning. What are you looking at? 5 months? 6 months? That's way too generous, like I said, I think, for East Avenue. I think the public will think so as well. That 3-1 is going to come up. So if you do like him, I think that will be a bit to your benefit. You'll get a little money if he does pop back and respond. I don't know if I'm going to go there, though. Number 3. Gotta love the name of this horse. Chancer McPatrick out of McKenzie. A street sense horse. Mother's father, Bernardini. So, good breeding again from this one. 7-2 in the morning odds. Flavien Prat, who won this race in 2022 on Zandon, is going to be riding this horse. Same trainer, Chad Brown, as Zandon in 22. So, the pair is back. Something to consider as a positive. Chad Brown also won this. He was the trainer of Good Magic back in 2018. Won it last year as well. 2024, trainer of Sierra Leone. So there's a lot to like in this entry as far as the experience. Horse was second last out in that Tampa Bay Derby behind Owen Almighty. 3 lengths off in that one. So that was a good race. A good run for this horse after running 6th in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. A bit of a layoff there, so you want to see him tighten up. Yes, Tampa Bay Derby is a good race to tighten up before coming into the Bluegrass Stakes. Before that Breeders' Cup Juvenile, horse was pretty strong. won his maiden special weight at Saratoga, came back with a win in the Hopeful, followed that up with a win in the Champagne Stakes. So Chancer McPatrick, at one point, was a really solid horse. I think he was the favorite going into that Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Looking to recapture some of that previous form, and this could be the race to do it in. You've got the experienced jockey and trainer. We're just going to have to see if it translates over for this horse. I think it's a good chance it might. Number 7, the last one in this one, Admiral Dennis, another good name, another strong name. You could definitely see either one of those names on a Derby glass. Constitution, the sire of this horse, Tappet is his sire. Mother's father out of Union Rags. So Admiral Dennis, once again, strong breeding. You're looking for the mile and a quarter you're going to need going into the Derby. 20-1 in the morning odds, which I think gives you some value when you look at Luis Saez is riding him. Won this race previously, 2016, Brody's Cause. Brad Cox training him as well. The 2021 winner training Essential Quality. Breeding for this horse. Workouts rather for this horse are good. A 59-second 5 furlong. Before that, a 1 minute breathing, 48, another 48, another 1 minute. This horse pretty much works out well every race. Now, those horses tend to do well in stakes races. If all of your workout times, you're hitting your 5 furlongs, 1 minute or below, your 4 furlongs, 48 second or below, consistently across the board, that's just a strong horse. He's a fast horse, especially he got the burst. You got a jockey that can turn it on, the trainer that can get him ready. That's what you like to see. 20-1 odds. I don't think that's respectable. I don't think the public will think that either. I think he will come down, but you'll probably still get some good money on him if you decide to go this way. Last out, he was 6th in the Rebel, 7 lengths off. Florent Giraud beat him, or Florent Giraud was riding him in that one, lost a coal battle. That's the reason why they don't like this horse. I'm guessing a win before that was an optional claimer at Fairgrounds, 146, not that great of a time for a mile and 1/16th. 4th in the Gun Runner before that. Before that, he had a win at Churchill Downs in a mile in 135. Luis Saez was riding him there. That's right. We're bringing back the familiar jockey. They're not back at Churchill now, but even if he doesn't win here, if this horse gets into the Derby, you got to remember, Rich Strike, that was the indicator on Rich Strike, was his good mile performance at Churchill Downs. That was the reason to bet him. That's the reason why I bet him. And you could be looking at a similar setup here if this horse makes it back to Churchill. But when you're looking at this race, this isn't too far from Churchill here in Lexington. And there's a lot to like about Admiral Dennis as well. 20-1 morning odds, like I said, I think it's disrespectful. Now, when you look at the pace of this race, I think it's very competitive for a 7-horse race. You're going to be looking, in my opinion, at the 5 East Avenue taking the lead. I don't think he's going to get it easily. I think you're going to have Burnham Square give him a little bit of trouble, but I think mostly Owen Almighty is going to try to get up there. Jose Ortiz is, I think, you're going to have to try to rate Owen Almighty a little bit. But I think he's going to give the lead to East Avenue because Luan Machado is going to knows that this horse wins up front. He won up front. The horse has never won before when he doesn't run up front. So no lead, no win. They're going to go to the lead. And I think these other horses are going to give it to him. And that is why I think the lead, the opening half, will be in the 46.5 range. Not too fast, but I do think that Owen Almighty's got some speed, and he's going to make him earn it. So I do think that will put him up there. I think Machado's going to want to not go too fast, so I don't think he's going to let him fly. I think once he gets the lead, he's going to be satisfied there, to his detriment. He will not move him in time. Owen Almighty will force him Jose Ortiz aboard, in my opinion, they'll get him going up to a 109 in that 3/4. And that's why I think that East Avenue is going to start to give way. Owen Almighty will get the lead. I think Burnham Square will be right behind him. But I think Irad Ortiz will start coming, as well as Sheldon Russell. Like I said, Sheldon Russell's trying to make for a name for himself. So once Jose Ortiz starts moving on that 4, Sheldon Russell's going to go. And Irad knows his brother. He's a lot of people probably say he's the best jockey right now. He's going to go as well. And that's going to set up, I think, a thrilling close. It's going to come down, I think, the 4th place horse will probably only be a length and a half at the most off of the winner. I think we're going to have a battle coming down to the end. We're going to have leading the charge, I think it will be Jose Ortiz with Owen Almighty in the final stretch, but we're going to have Burnham Square in there with Brian Hernandez. Irad Ortiz will be closing hard along with Sheldon Russell on Render Judgment. Don't forget about Flavien Prat. I had to look up Flavien Prat's career stats. Do you know that guy's a career 22% win now? I think that's number 1. He's ahead of Irad, who's only at 20. Only at 20, like I say, like that's easy. But 22%, so you know Flavien Prat's going to be in the mix. And Luis Saez with Admiral Dennis, who I think is a good horse fundamentally, will be in there as well. This will be a jockey's battle, and I think that the winner will be my favorite jockey. Right now, Irad Ortiz Jr. on the 1, River Thames. Todd Pletcher gets his 5th win in the Bluegrass. That's how I'm calling it. I don't like picking favorites. I hope he's not the favorite, but that's how I see it. But yes, it is going to be close. I'm just getting excited here as I'm watching it in my head, drawing up the preliminaries. You know what I mean? And I think this is really going to be a race to watch. And I think you could make a case for probably 4 of these horses in the Kentucky Derby. And the point debacle with the Santa Anita may allow that to happen because whoever ends up coming up short 4th here, I think will be able to come back to the Lexington and put some more points together and come back here. But I'm going with River Thames for the win. Irad Ortiz Jr. and Todd Pletcher. 2nd place, I think it is going to be a very close 2nd for Owen Almighty, his brother, Jose Ortiz. Ortiz Exacta box. That's how I'm playing it. And yes, it was a tough call to do that. 3rd place, the 2, Render Judgment, Sheldon Russell. Do what I want to see? A 1-2? Exactly. Exacta, absolutely. It would pay really well. Do I think it can happen? Absolutely. So yeah, I'm gonna be playing a 1-2. Probably even a 2-1 box that will pay really well as well. And a 1-4-2 Exacta. You throw this Sheldon Russell, gets into the mix. I think he could really put some money in our pockets if you choose to go that way. I got Sheldon Russell running 3rd on the 2, Render Judgment. And 4th place for those of us that like the supers, the 7, Admiral Dennis. Luis Saez, Brad Cox horse, I think gets in there. It's hard to leave out Chancer McPatrick. I just think he's going to be a step slow for this one. It's hard to call him a step slow because I think he's a good horse, but I think a lot of these horses like that are going on. Almighty's good. I think River Thames is good. I think that East Avenue's, I think he's still good. Along with Chancer McPatrick and Admiral Dennis, like I said, every time a horse works out really well, those horses consistently hit the board in these big races. So Admiral Dennis, I think we could be seeing him ride in big races for a couple of years now. I just don't think he's going to get the win on Saturday. I'm giving it to River Thames. 1, 4, 2, 7 as usual. Let me know what you think in the comments section. a winner at least, but I know you all got to be thinking that this race looks like an exacta race, a try, something to do some exotics with, because it's tough to pick one horse in this one. But I can see where a lot of you would say, yeah, there's a couple I like, and we're going to throw them in a box. So if that's how you feel, put that in the comment section too. We have the Santa Anita Derby coming up, the final race for Super Saturday. This one will be the first race, as I said, 5:52 Eastern Daylight Time. Then we'll have the Wood, and then we'll have the Santa Anita.